What if the reason you felt powerless is because someone needed you to stay that way? From the moment you were born, you were placed in systems carefully designed to disconnect you from your divine nature. An education system that taught you to seek approval instead of truth. A media landscape designed to fragment your focus. A food system engineered to dull your mind and spirit. Some of you have felt hollow, despite achieving what you were told to want. Others have questioned their life path or choices. These aren't failures. They're signs that the programming meant to disconnect you from your true self is breaking down. In this video, I'll dive deep into the psychological tactics suppressing your power. Most importantly, I'll show you simple, powerful steps to break the spell and awaken the divine intelligence already within you. This isn't just about seeing the matrix. It's about stepping out of it and returning to the God you've always been. Part 1. The Big Why. Keeping you in scarcity. Before we examine how you've been disconnected from your divine nature, let's understand why this system exists in the first place. Global corporate interests and institutional powers have a vested interest in keeping you operating from a place of scarcity rather than abundance. When you function from scarcity consciousness, you become the perfect consumer, the perfect worker, the perfect citizen within their systems. A landmark study by psychologists Sendil Mullainathan and Eldar Shafir demonstrated that scarcity mentality literally reduces cognitive function. Their research, published in Science magazine, showed that the mental bandwidth occupied by scarcity concerns reduced functional IQ by an average of 13 points, comparable to losing a night's sleep or developing an alcohol dependency. Why does this matter? Because when you're trapped in scarcity thinking, you make short-term decisions that benefit those in power. Philosopher and social critic Noam Chomsky observed that propaganda is to democracy what violence is to dictatorship. He points out that modern systems of control work through manufacturing consent rather than through force. When you're disconnected from your inner wisdom, you easily consent to systems that don't serve your highest good. The Harvard Grant study, one of the longest-running studies on human development, found that people with a sense of spiritual connection were significantly less influenced by external pressures and materialistic pursuits. What makes this truth so powerful is that it resonates across all ideologies, whether from thinkers who challenge the status quo of capitalism, or from voices that warn against the emptiness of consumer-driven lifestyles. There is a common thread: understanding the systems in play that are designed to keep us disconnected from our true power. This universal realization is what we'll explore further in this video. Part 2. The dangers of our current technological landscape. This suppression has reached unprecedented danger levels in our current technological age. We're witnessing the most sophisticated consciousness control system ever created. Today's media and technology landscape enables a small group of influencers to shape the reality of millions in ways previous generations couldn't imagine. Here's how. Algorithm control. Most people get their information through algorithms designed to keep them engaged rather than informed. A 2020 study by the MIT Technology Review found that divisive and emotionally triggering content spread 6 times faster than neutral information. This isn't accidental. It's engineered to keep you in lower states of consciousness. When Facebook conducted its infamous mood manipulation study in 2014, they proved they could alter the emotional states of hundreds of thousands of users without their knowledge or consent. If your emotions can be manipulated at scale, so can your consciousness. Attention fragmentation. Dr. Gloria Mark at the University of California found the average attention span has dropped from 12 seconds in 2000 to just 8 seconds today, less than a goldfish. This matters because spiritual awareness requires sustained attention. Ancient traditions prescribed meditation precisely because spiritual perception emerges when attention is held steady. Your divine nature exists beyond the fragmented thinking mind. But how can you access it when your attention is deliberately shattered into 8-second fragments? Reality construction. The line between information and reality has collapsed. What you consume through screens literally constructs your understanding of the world. When 6 corporations control 90% of American media, as documented by Business Insider, a tiny group determines what reality looks like for the majority. A former ethicist at a large tech company once said, "A handful of tech designers at 3 tech companies now have more influence over billions of minds than any government or religion in history." This simply wasn't possible in previous eras. Neural hijacking. Modern technology engages the same neural pathways as addiction. Dr. Anna Lemke of Stanford University documented in her book Dopamine Nation how digital technology creates the same brain patterns as substance dependence. This keeps you craving the next notification, the next validation, preventing the extended neural quiet needed for divine connection. What makes this so dangerous is the seamless integration with your daily life. Previous forms of control were obvious. You knew when you were being propagandized. Today's mechanisms work invisibly, through devices you voluntarily carry, platforms you willingly engage with, and content you actively seek out. You've become complicit in your own spiritual suppression. Part 3. The forgotten truth in your daily life. Let's start with your routine this morning. How immediately were you checking notifications, planning your day around work obligations, worrying about deadlines, or responding to messages? How long have you been trapped in this system of perpetual distraction? Dr. Herbert Benson of Harvard Medical School documented what he called the relaxation response, a state where your parasympathetic nervous system activates, blood pressure decreases, and brain waves shift to alpha and theta states. These are the exact frequencies where spiritual awareness, creativity, and self-healing emerge. But today's lifestyle systematically prevents this state. A 2018 study in the Journal of Social and Clinical Psychology found that limiting social media use to 30 minutes per day significantly reduced depression and loneliness. Why? Because constant stimulation keeps you in fight or flight, blocking access to your higher consciousness. The ancient Egyptians understood this. Their morning rituals began with meditation and ceremonial breathing to activate what they called neta, the divine creative force within. The Vedic tradition prescribed specific morning practices of silence and breath to awaken Atman, your divine self. Look at your own experience. When was the last time you felt truly calm, clear, and connected? For most people, these moments come accidentally, during nature walks, in deep flow states, or in rare moments of silence. They should be your natural state, but they're not. Because calm, clear beings can't be sold products to fix their anxieties. They can't be manipulated through fear. They can't be controlled. Part 4. The biological warfare on your consciousness. Your brain isn't just an organ, it's your interface with the divine. And it's under assault in specific measurable ways. Fluoride exposure. A 2018 study published in Environmental Health showed that fluoride exposure is associated with reduced IQ, but the impact goes deeper. Research by Dr. Jennifer Luke at the University of Surrey found that fluoride accumulates in the pineal gland, the tiny pine cone-shaped organ that produces melatonin and has been associated with spiritual perception across cultures. Why does this matter? Because your pineal gland contains water and produces its own supply of DMT, dimethyltryptamine, the same compound found in ayahuasca and associated with profound mystical experiences. When calcified, this function is compromised. This isn't theoretical. You can see pineal calcification on brain scans, increasing with age in modern populations, but notably absent in certain indigenous groups who maintain spiritual practices. Nutritional warfare. The modern Western diet is specifically engineered to compromise neural function. Artificial sweeteners, like aspartame, break down into formaldehyde in the body. High fructose corn syrup creates metabolic dysfunction and brain fog. Processed vegetable oils cause neuroinflammation. A landmark 2015 study in the British Journal of Psychiatry found direct links between processed food consumption and depression. Not just physical, but mental deterioration. Your clarity, your connection, your consciousness itself is being deliberately dimmed. Electromagnetic disruption. Your body operates through subtle bioelectric fields that ancient traditions mapped as meridians, nadis, and chakras. Modern research in bioelectricity confirms these energy pathways exist. Robert O. Becker's work on electrical currents in animals and humans demonstrated their role in consciousness and healing. What happens when you're constantly bombarded by artificial EMF frequencies? Studies show disruption of melatonin production, calcium ion channel activity, and natural biological rhythms, the very mechanisms associated with higher perception. Ever notice how much clearer you feel after a few days in nature, away from electronics? That's your biofield recalibrating to natural frequencies. Part 5. How suppression shows up in your everyday life. These systems create specific symptoms you probably experience daily. Constant mental chatter. That voice in your head that never stops. That's not your true self, it's programming. Neuroscience calls it the default mode network, DMN, and it strengthens with stress and social media use. When active, the DMN creates self-referential thinking, worry, rumination, judgment. Spiritual traditions call this Maya, or illusion. Psychedelics researchers found that when the default mode network quiets, mystical experiences emerge. But modern life is designed to keep your DMN in overdrive. Emotional reactivity. Notice how easily triggered people are today. A 2019 study in JAMA Pediatrics showed that increased screen time directly correlates with decreased emotional regulation in children. Adults fare no better. Emotional regulation happens in the prefrontal cortex, the same region active during meditation. A hyperactive limbic system, constantly stimulated by media and stress, overrides prefrontal function. You literally can't access your higher consciousness when you're in reaction mode. Disconnection from body. Most people live from the neck up, barely aware of their physical sensations. This isn't natural, it's trained. From sitting at desks for years to constant screen use, modern life pulls consciousness away from embodiment. Ancient spiritual practices across traditions began with body awareness for good reason. The Tao Te Ching states, "Can you concentrate your vital energy, be soft and yielding like a newborn child?" Embodiment is the foundation of spiritual perception. The symptoms of your disconnection are likely familiar: difficulty being present, seeking endless distraction, feeling separate from others, experiencing life as a series of problems rather than as a divine unfolding. Part 6. Breaking free. Practical implementation. Liberation requires precise, consistent countermeasures against your programming. Here's how to practically implement this in your daily life. 1. Interrupt pattern recognition. Your brain forms neural pathways through repetition. Breaking free requires pattern interruption, scientifically proven to create new neural connections. Practical implementation. Change your morning routine radically. Instead of reaching for your phone, try 5 minutes of conscious breathing, focusing on the sensation at your nostrils. Walk a different route to work. Drive a different way home. Small changes build neuroplasticity. Fast from media for 24 hours weekly. Notice the withdrawal symptoms. That's your programming fighting back. Second pineal activation protocol. Begin the process of decalcifying and reactivating your pineal function with these evidence-based steps. Practical implementation: eliminate fluoride exposure. Use reverse osmosis water filtration. Removes 95% of fluoride, according to NSF international studies. Supplement with tamarind extract, which research in environmental geochemistry and health shows helps remove fluoride from the body. Practice sun gazing for 5 to 10 minutes at sunrise or sunset, safe periods, to stimulate pineal function through the retinal pineal pathway. Try a 2-week cleanse, eliminating all artificial sweeteners, preservatives, and processed oils, all shown to impact neurological function. 3. Recalibrate your biofield through breathwork. The breath directly modulates your nervous system. Dr. Stephen Porges' polyvagal theory shows how specific breathing patterns activate the ventral vagal complex, the part of your nervous system associated with connection and higher awareness. Practical implementation: practice the 4-7-8 breath. Inhale for 4, hold for 7, exhale for 8, for 5 minutes daily. A 2017 study in the Journal of Alternative and Complementary Medicine showed this pattern significantly reduces stress hormones. Try alternate nostril breathing, Nadi Shodhana, to balance left and right hemispheres. EEG studies show this creates coherence between brain hemispheres within minutes. Use breath retention to increase CO2 tolerance, which studies show improves brain blood flow by up to 25%. Fourth, consciousness expansion tools. These practices directly counter your limiting programming. Implement the pattern break meditation. Set a timer for 11 minutes. Each time you notice your mind wandering to a familiar thought pattern, gently say, "Programming," and return to your breath. Try the reality questioning practice. 3 times daily. Ask yourself, who am I beyond my thoughts? Don't answer intellectually. Feel into the question. Practice shadow reversal. Identify a triggering situation in your life. Ask, how is this situation revealing the divine? Journal what emerges. Part 7. The collective awakening. Your individual liberation isn't separate from collective transformation. In systems theory, this is called emergence. When enough individual components change, the entire system reaches a tipping point. Research by the Global Consciousness Project at Princeton University has documented measurable shifts in random event generators during major global events, suggesting consciousness itself has field effects. We're witnessing unprecedented challenges to control systems. Institutional trust at historic lows, according to Edelman Trust Barometer. Exponential growth in meditation and mindfulness practices. Widespread interest in psychedelics and consciousness research after decades of suppression. Revolutionary decentralized technologies, challenging centralized control. These aren't coincidences. They're evidence of a system in transformation. As psychologist Carl Jung noted, the psychological rule says that when an inner situation is not made conscious, it happens outside as fate. What we're experiencing collectively is the shadow of our suppressed divinity, demanding to be recognized. Part 8. Reclaiming the God within. The systems designed to disconnect you from your divine nature are powerful but not invincible. They require your unconscious participation. The moment you become aware of how they operate in your specific daily experience, they begin to lose their hold. This isn't about fighting the system. It's about remembering who you are despite it. Every time you choose presence over distraction, every time you question limiting beliefs about your potential, every time you connect with another person beyond the superficial, you're dismantling the architecture of suppression. Your divine nature isn't some abstract concept. It's your birthright. It's your natural state. It's what emerges when the programming falls away. If you felt that quiet ache of something missing, if you've sensed there was more to life than what you've been shown, if you've caught glimpses of a reality beyond the matrix of limitation, Trust that feeling. It's the most honest thing in a world built on forgetting. Remember who you are. Remember why you came. Remember that you are not alone in remembering. If this video resonated with the truth within you, share it with others who might be ready to remember. Leave a comment about your awakening experiences and join our community for deeper exploration of these practices on your path to a better life.